Hey everybody, how's it going today? First of all, on behalf of Adult Swim, thanks to Apple for having us today. Entering its 8th season, Robot Chicken has been consistently been one of Adult Swim's highest rated originals since its premiere in 2005. So please join me in welcoming to the stage some of the talented writers and producers responsible for this amazing and hilarious show. First of all, I have co-creator, EP actor, and one of the hardest working men in show business, Mr. Seth Green.
This is like the most intimate VH1 storytellers ever. You guys getting your Apple Care? Could not more highly recommend the Apple Care, guys. Seems like the insurance you're never gonna need, and then you drop your phone.
I know it, right?
And you're like, oh no, am I gonna give $50 to some stranger in the street to put non-licensed Apple products on my phone? If you paid for Apple Care, you just go,
Don't have a worry, right?
And they go, hey, shh, shh, shh. Here you go.
Okay, we also today have another Apple enthusiast.
Thanks, Keith.
Actor and writer, Breckin Meyer.
Uh-oh. Security, can we check this backpack, please? I like that you wouldn't even leave that backstage. Like,
no, I don't know what these people are gonna do. I don't know what's gonna
Trust
happen.
no one, Breckin.
Yeah. So the trains are down.
it looks like the trains are not running at the speed that they should.
We have co-head writer and executive producer Tom Roots.
Look at that dog. Hi. That dog's like, why am I at an Apple store?
Why am I wearing sneakers? Hi, Tom Root.
Hi,
everybody.
Breckin has your mic. And finally, we have this year's director, Mr. Tom Sheppard.
Woo!
Ow!
Look at all the people here.
I guess we should also mention one person who's missing today, and
It's Matt Senreich, guys, co-creator, star of Robot Chicken, plays the Flash. Matthew Senreich.
couldn't make it today. He's very upset he couldn't make it. But please tweet him.
That's the truth. Matt's Twitter is at WIZMATTS, WizMattS. Tweet Matt.
Please do.
Tell him
Get well
whatever
soon.
you want, guys. You tell him whatever you want. But he really was insistent that people be tweeting him.
Which makes it seem less enjoyable, but
So Seth, why don't we go back in history a little bit and tell me who had the idea for this show and how it all was developed back in the day?
Sure thing, Keith. That implies that there was any organized plan at all, rather than just a series of things that happened one right after another to put us on television. Well, there's this thing called the internet, and pre-broadband, there was dial-up technology, and a lot of intrepid developers were trying to create linear content for a portal platform similar to YouTube. So Matt and I wanted to make this short. We were trying to figure out how to make stop motion. Somebody from Sony Digital was...
Why stop motion?
Because, you know, we wanted the toys to look like toys, and so we wanted them to move like they were toys, but they were alive. And stop motion's the best way to use the actual things. But while we were trying to come up with this idea and figure out how to shoot it, Sony, which had a little bit of seed money to explore this internet thing, they financed 12 4-minute shorts, which was everything from the Real World Metropolis to the Scarlet Letter 2. And so then we took that 40 minutes of content and we shopped it around for the next 4 years while both things like linear content portals on broadband internet and things like the Adult Swim came into existence. So you guys at the Adult Swim have been doing a lot of repurposed original animation, shows like Space Ghost, and had very little original programming save for thing. I think Aqua Teen was one of the earliest original programs.
Aqua Teen, C-Lab 2020, Space Ghost, of course.
But even C-Lab was like repurposed original animation with new animation runs.
Absolutely.
So
Harvey
when
Birdman, yeah.
We didn't know that there was even a place that anybody would watch anything like this. We sure as hell didn't think there would be an audience for it, right? Tom had been working at Wizard with Matt. We all just made this really silly thing for the internet.
No, we were just excited that we could, because we all loved action figures so much, actually get to put them in front of cameras and make up little adventures with them.
Yeah, but you never assumed that that would be a program that
No.
people would watch that would continue for 10 years.
No, this was our hobby. And if we had to do it over again, maybe we would have done some things differently. Because it's a very difficult
It's sort of like
process.
your permanent record when you realize that people are paying attention to whether or not you're arrested. You're like, oh, I shouldn't have gotten arrested.
It's also sort of like when your first band has a huge hit and you realize you're in this band forever. It's
And
sort of
you-
like
and you
that
hate each
sometimes.
other.
And you just...
So
Keith,
Breckin,
do you remember our first meeting?
I do remember in the Space Ghost office in Santa Monica.
When you say Space Ghost office, it implies that there was an actual building or like people
It
working
was an
there.
actual building. Thank
And it
you.
implies
This
it was
was-
a Space Ghost.
Has anybody ever seen the movie The Game with Sean Penn and Michael Douglas? You know how Michael Douglas shows up at one point and that whole place that used to be filled with people and phones and computers is suddenly empty with just like cords in the center and there's like one desk in the corner with a chair turned on its side? That's what this office seemed like when Matt and I first walked into it.
Well, you know what the office really was, right?
No.
It was AOL.
Oh, so they were on the way
Yeah,
down?
they were on the way
Yeah.
out. And we swooped in and grabbed a couple of cubes, right? And it was the biggest no-brainer, really, in the history of television because these guys came in with these already produced shorts. And, you know, it was no words on paper. It was just actual animation. And we said, hell yeah, we'll make this show. You know, we're always looking for something different. We had no stop motion. These guys are talented. And it was like, yeah, slam dunk.
I love you, Keith.
Love you too, Seth.
I wasn't at that meeting, but I remember Matt said, you know, the president of the network said he hates stop motion.
He still does, yes. Except for this show.
Lazo's actual words were, now I don't like stop motion animation, but I guess your show is funny.
And
And Matt and I walked out of that office like, did we just sell a show? Is that what that is? Do we have to figure out how to make this now?
right, exactly. So, Breckin, how did you get involved with the show? What attracted you to the show?
I mean, you know, Seth and I were always kind of goofing off. We had an office together with another guy, and we would always, it was like a clubhouse, and we would just write funny ideas on the board. And Seth, I mean, it originally started when you were going to do Conan, and you had...
Yeah, all the Sweet J stuff came out of Conan.
Sweet J stuff was he was going to do Conan and had nothing to talk about, so he's going to do this special, and so we just did voices and stuff. And honestly, I mean, it's been 10 years now, but my whole purpose of it, and I think most of us, is just to make each other laugh. And when I do voices on it, it is literally, I look at Sethy when he's in the glass, and I'm just trying to make him laugh in that little square. And it's been that way for 10 years. It's just, if it takes me doing a silly voice or throwing my clothes off or whatever, it's just to make Seth laugh. And if it ends up in the show, all right, you know.
Breckin desperately wants your approval, guys.
Yeah. So,
He will kill himself to entertain you.
yeah. Are you not entertained?
So, Tom Sheppard, you're the newest member of the group here. How did you get involved with the show?
I was arrested. It was a community service thing. And, you know, these programs work because you can actually get legitimate employment out of it. So if you get the opportunity, just jump on in because you never know.
What's going to happen?
It's
How
better
gonna
than the
work.
real story.
Yeah.
And how has it been transitioning to director this season?
It's a complete madhouse, but it's a lot of fun. It's the greatest job in the world. It's every day I wake up and can't believe that I actually get to play with toys for a living and work with these idiots,
He's talking about us.
especially Breckin.
Well, let's talk about the production process for a minute. How long does it take typically to produce a season of the show?
It's roughly 12 to 15 months to produce a season. What we've done for the last several years is produce a half-hour special to launch the season, something like the Star Wars or the DC specials. Because putting your focus on a half hour like that helps you really get the shop set up, gets everybody's enthusiasm. You do a lot of building for it, plus you make something that everybody's excited about. And then we work for the next, 18 weeks, 18 weeks. I don't know.
Right. So, over the 10 years, what have you had to learn about the production process, making stop motion, or what have you had to unlearn?
Well, I came from film, and so stop motion is really just like shooting cinema in that you build all the sets, you fabricate all the clothing, you wind up casting 3 times because you cast the actor, you cast the puppet, and then you cast the animator to make them come to life. So all 3 of those performers have to work together to make something really happen. I learned a lot of patience, and I learned to plan. And I learned that no matter what happens, when everything goes wrong, you just got to figure out how to make it.
Why'd you look at me when you said plan?
Well, I just looked at the whole group, really.
No, you looked right at me.
I looked at you.
Yeah, but like,
Breckin, you got a plan.
I know, I got it.
Yeah, I'm gonna Mariah Carey.
I got
you got a plan.
I'll Christina Aguilera your ass.
You got a plan.
I'll Christina Aguilera your ass right here.
So, Tom Root, you've been there since the beginning. Have you noticed anything different? I mean, how's the process evolved over the years?
It started, we were just winging it to begin with, and we found out really quickly how big that could turn into a giant car wreck if we weren't careful. And so very quickly we had to build this structure, and now it's actually like a real company. We've got 130 people working there to make this silly little show. And we kind of need all of them, or it turns into just a flaming disaster.
Right, right. And let's talk about the writing process. How long do you guys take to like write a season? And you write it like in cycles, I believe, right?
Well, we average an episode a week. What we do is we break it up into 5 cycles of 4 weeks, and we write 4 scripts at a time. 2.5 weeks is coming up with ideas, and then the last week and a half is scripting 4 episodes. And we always over-script, we always over-pitch, we always have way more than we need. And so then systematically, all the extra sketches get executed really ruthlessly. And as writers, it hurts really bad. And we're pretty miserable.
Really, and then we do that again.
Then we do it again.
After we do the animatic, which is all the drawings, put into the edit, and
you guys are losing the crowd.
Did Genius Bar came up?
Guys, we're losing the crowd.
Do the Mariah Carey thing again.
Not interested in the process, huh? All right, well.
Nobody wants to see how the sausage is made, huh? All right.
So what are some of the sketches that didn't make it into the show that you wish had?
Oh boy. Well, this season we had a great, quote unquote, great sketch about Playmobil. Do you remember Playmobil? And
this is what you're gonna call out?
It's the only thing that came to mind. So the Playmobil characters have a band. They're like a garage band, and they're trying to make it work. And then one of them just flips out and throws the piano through the window. And it was just funny to us because they all have these painted-on smiles.
But it's a box set of like the Playmobil band, and this one character randomly is dressed as a clown, and it was Mikey Day that said, "Wow, what are these characters doing together?" And so he imagined that the most normal one of them was like this dictatorial band leader who was constantly flipping out on the other ones and forcing them to use crappy instruments, and then said, "You're acting like a clown, you might as well look like one," and put the wig on him. It didn't work. It was just really funny to us.
I think for me, the hardest one to see go this season was something called Hand Job Robot. It was a robot voiced by Breckin Meyer who disguised himself.
Wait, but you've already revealed the headline.
Well,
it starts with an execution. They're attempting to execute someone in the electric chair, and they keep flipping the switch up and down. And they're like, "I don't know what's happening. It's not working." And then the switch is revealed to be the genitals of a robot who can only climax from people unknowingly masturbating him.
So he set up this guy for murder. Got him sent to prison.
This guy, and they show the robot, like, they find the video surveillance from the nanny cam. The last minute he's saved by the governor. They show the robot like sneaking into the guy's bedroom and framing him. So, and then like posing as the electrocution switch.
His catch, Breckin, do you remember his catchphrase?
No.
It was "Thanks for the Spanx."
But after this whole sketch, it reveals the first $100 million Kickstarter project ever. It got cut, guys, obviously, but
You're never gonna see.
Never
this.
made it
This is
past
your only
animatic, y'all.
opportunity.
Oh, is that not gonna air?
hand job robot.
That's not airing?
No.
Did all that work for nothing?
It'll be on the DVD.
Yeah.
It'll be on the animatics. I don't know why.
The whole thing's
I
based
don't
on
know
a
why
true
the
story.
animatics weren't on that.
So who
They're real
decides
guys.
what gets into the show and what doesn't?
It comes down to
man.
time, really. It ultimately is time. The show's got to be a finite amount of time, and so we'll cut everything together in animatic before we send it to stages. You only have so much time to shoot things on stages, so you have to be really economical about what you send there. And we get our animatic down to the exact running time, and sometimes you have to cut stuff that you think works and keep stuff that maybe...
Most stuff I write, I tend to notice gets cut. Usually after animatic, I think.
You know, the saddest thing is that
It's
every
true.
time we've been nominated for a writing Emmy, it's on episodes Breckin didn't write.
Yeah, no. Every time you're nominated, I'm nominated. Every time you won, I was not a part of it.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm the Susan Lucci of our episodes. It's for the big Susan Lucci fans out there. You're welcome.
Or what about in the writing room when all these ideas are thrown out on a daily basis? Who's the
I'll take this
arbiter
one,
of,
Keith. There's a voting process at Robot Chicken
That has been in place since the beginning of the show.
That has been in place since the beginning of the show. Okay, it just sucks. Right? There is the process is we all write, and then at the end of the day, we go over what everybody has written, and then there's a vote. And it's 3-1, right?
Who gets a vote?
Well, that's the weird part,
It's a
Tom.
four-way
I'm
vote.
glad you asked. It's a 4-person vote. Now, I've been with the show pretty much since it started. I don't have a vote yet, but the votes are Tom, Doug. Oh, who's Doug, you ask? That's also what I asked. Doug is a co-head writer who hasn't written a skit on the show in maybe 9 years. And then, you stream this, Doug. Where are you? Huh? You watching at home? Anyway, and then there is, by the way, you're at home, you're not here. And then, so Sethy, Matt, who's co-creator, again, by the way, not here, couldn't bother to show up, and Tom and Doug. So those are the 4 votes. And they decide, is it 3-1 now?
It's 3-1.
3-1. So if it gets 3 votes, it goes in. So if you know,
or
you're-
4.
or 4. If you get everybody, you're obviously in. And it takes a lot. And so you can spend a lot of time writing a skit all day. And then the worst part is Seth has this thing. I love Seth dearly, and he's probably my best friend in the world. But Seth, he has a way of reading a thing that makes him laugh, and he goes, no. And it's like a dagger in your fucking heart. When he does it, because you spend so long, and you're like, there's certain times you write something specifically for certain people who have votes. You're like, I know Seth, you'll love this. And then, no. And that's it. So on the drive home.
Because there's a difference between a sketch that you find funny and a sketch that's going to work on the show.
No, I disagree. I think whatever's funny goes in the show. But this isn't the time for that, guys. So
We'll work that out at
we'll work that out
our
at some
therapy
point.
session.
That's how the show's
Well,
written.
let's get positive. What are some of your favorite sketches that have appeared in the show over the years?
There's a new sketch on the new season called Dinosaur Train. It's like one of my favorite things that's happening right now. Oh, wait, and then another one that Sheppard wrote, which is I'll like tip it. It's a spoiler, but it's a cereal called Holios that Jesus is selling. And it's like the greatest theme song you've ever heard ever. It's been stuck in my head for weeks. Tom did.
It's interesting because I play Jesus.
Anytime. You typically play Jesus. This was the one time that you didn't play Jesus. You know who played it? And this one was Rob Paulson.
What's Rob Paulson?
Who's Rob Paulson?
Yeah.
Besides 2 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah,
he's
who's
also
Rob Paulson?
he's also Yakko from Animaniacs.
And he played Jesus.
And he was Pinky on Pinky and the Brain.
But he played Jesus on Robot Chicken.
Just in this one sketch, yeah.
The character I usually play.
The character that you it's your signature character.
The character, right. One of my signature characters, Rob
Yeah.
played.
Right, but he's in the commercial.
Because I was busy?
You were.
I don't think I've been busy in the last 2 years.
That's
I have nothing but free time. I'm here. What are you talking
none of
about?
that's true.
Okay.
We did it to hurt you. Is
Whatever.
the answer.
So Breckin, what's your favorite sketch over the years?
Whatever, Keith. I don't care anymore. My favorite. I have a lot of favorite sketches on this show. I can't think of one right now.
Hey, girl.
I can't think of one that I really like. I like them all. I mean, honestly, I go back to the Gummy Bear as one of my favorite things. You wrote that, right?
I did.
I go back to that, and then Emperor's Phone Call because I wrote that. But yeah, any of the Star Wars stuff is kind of my favorite stuff because that's like, not only is this job a dream job, but then to get to play with Star Wars, that's ridiculous.
We did a sketch with a giraffe sinking in quicksand and going through the 5 stages of grief.
That was a great one.
It was so well animated. One of our great Emmy-winning animators did the animation on it, and the giraffe has so much pathos. And Seth was sobbing in the booth as the voice of this giraffe, and you just see him sinking and sinking, and finally coming to accept his fate. And it's the kind of sketch we don't do all the time because it took a long time to sink that giraffe into that quicksand, and usually we're like, it's too long, and so it was just like this beautiful lesson about life, yes. And we all learned something from it.
Tom Sheppard, do you have a favorite?
Say Dinosaur Train.
No, it's not. It's currently animating, but we're doing a sketch about Michael Bay's penis. It's maybe the most amazing thing I've ever seen. The sketch.
Technically, it's less about Michael Bay's penis and more about where Michael Bay gets the balls to make such amazing movies.
So it's really more about his balls.
But let me just say this: the puppets break a lot. So if a puppet is put through a lot of motions in a sketch, we'll have to have several replacements, and we actually have 12 Michael Bay penises for the sketch,
which again is exactly like real life.
Yeah.
Michael Bay has 12 penises.
Keith, it would work a lot better if we didn't have to pixelate that penis. Just.
Oh,
we
really?
thought about just Big Black barring the penis because honestly, Big Black bar is so much funnier than pixelating because your brain imagines something so horrific under that big black bar. Like the bar is so big and you can't see anything behind it. You're like, what is behind that bar?
Well, we'll talk a minute for how is it working with the network? Like, how does Adult Swim treat you guys, and do you feel constricted with any?
This is the cutest solicitation, but I will actually say this: we've worked with a lot of different networks and studios, and there is nobody like Adult Swim. There's no other network and studio that has a culture the way that you guys do, that have a sense of family, a sense of all of these things being aimed in the same direction. And for creators, for manufacturers of content, getting to work with you guys is incredible because the concerns they have, the restrictions that they have, they're all really reasonable. They're all based on something that's smart. They're not just like, we want to contain or, refuse you. It's always been great.
So what's coming up in the new season that's exciting? And
well, we're starting with our third DC Comics special, which explores the love between Batman and Superman, and also the conflict between those two heroes. Does it end with a hug?
Maybe it does.
Maybe it does.
Wait a minute.
I noticed that. I was hoping you weren't going to see that.
Wait, hang on a second.
I was hoping you wouldn't see that, Breckin.
Wait a minute. What the hell? Filmmaker, actor. I've created shows. I've written on shows.
And Breckin, you've actually starred in more films than probably anybody in this room.
Anybody in this room. This is a filmmaker. Everyone's a filmmaker. Whatever.
I'm sure they can change that.
No, you know what?
We've got CG money.
So you guys have pretty much skewered.
So you're
DC.
Okay with that, Keith?
No, I'm not okay with
geez.
it. I feel your pain, Breckin. All right. So I'm sorry we didn't notice that sooner. But so you skewered DC Comics in 3 specials and Star Wars.
We weren't even soliciting.
Oh, there it is! That's so cool!
Babe, get up there. We'll fix it now. Here we go.
Look, they did it. Wait, can you put anything? Can I see? Can I put something?
You should have seen our business cards when we were like 18 years old.
This is not going to end well.
It's just all swear words and pop culture addresses. But you left them both as filmmakers. This guy.
Super hyper mega awesome filmmaker. Nice.
You think you know somebody?
Well, I think the audience probably has some questions for you guys.
Oh,
are we doing that?
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
Is this a question about your Apple service?
I think we got some mics.
You guys want to talk
raise
about
your
the
hand and
Apple TV?
We'll get a mic to you.
The integrated
Control.
components of the VR
Go ahead and
systems?
raise your hand. We'll bring you the mic. We have a question in the third
Just hit
row.
Control, Propeller, Escape. Bring it up. Shift Apple 3 takes a picture of your screen.
Every time we have the mics, I feel like...
What's up, dude?
Hey, what's up?
What's up, dude?
I hit this. Apple Care.
What?
I don't care.
What the hell?
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
You want us to keep
two
going?
things. Two things.
What? Drop that beat.
What?
You
No.
bet.
No.
Let
two
me see you
things.
freestyle.
Bring it back the other way.
What?
Nothing. Sorry.
No. I tweeted Matt. Matt tweeted me back.
Oh, cool.
That's shocking,
Good,
by the way.
good.
Yeah,
Because
so
if you
I did
tweet
that
Matt,
favor.
he's going to tweet you back.
Yeah, he's not.
FYI, if you want to get mentioned by WizMattS,
yeah, he's not doing anything.
tweet at WizMattS. All he's doing right now is tweeting.
Right. But this is more of a question.
Did you have a question?
Yeah, for Vice President here.
For Keith?
Yeah. Hey, Keith. So Adult Swim has like a lot of like, they have a big culture when it comes to music and hip hop and like underground music and stuff. And I saw you guys are doing the new drive-in theater with the
Yes, sir.
Robot Chicken and Aqua Teen. But I was wondering, do you guys would ever think of doing like a festival or like something music related with all the artists? Because I saw you guys premiered the new Earl Sweatshirt video. I wonder if you guys would do something with like Flying Lotus or like festival wise.
That's always a possibility. We'll talk to our marketing guys. We've been doing a tour every year. We did a fun house last year. We have the drive-in this year. So we're always looking for like new ideas.
Metalocalypse was on tour for a while.
and Death
But you
Clock
want a
tour.
Coachella of Adult Swim.
Yeah, like the Coachella of Adult
bands.
Swim. That's what I want. Like,
Yeah.
all right, thanks, Keith.
All right, thanks.
For Seth,
That's me.
yeah.
Not Seth Rogen or Seth Meyers or Seth MacFarlane. Not even Seth Rollins.
So back in 2005, when you created Robot Chicken, basically what like editing programs did you use back then?
Oh man, we did it all on the computers. We did it on like Final Cut, but we weren't into the Avid until third season. Everything was just being made on like personal stuff. It's that's why I say to kids today, you literally have no excuse not to make a thing. When Breckin and I were teenagers, we had a VHS-C camera and like a wealth of equipment that we had to carry everywhere. And then to do any kind of editorial work or music plugins or titles or anything, it was
A nightmare.
this stuff just didn't exist in the same way. You had to spend tons of money, go to all different places. Now you have everything on your phone, everything on your tablet. If you want to make something, there's zero excuse to make it because the distribution
To not
doesn't
make it.
matter anymore. It's equal. You can get anything to anybody. You just gotta make it.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yes, you in the corner.
Yes. Since it came out in 2005, the way people get their content is different, kind of like Seth, you were saying. Are you guys looking into different formats, how you're releasing that content with, Netflix, Amazon, releasing bulk of the entire season at one time?
Well, some of the robot stuff is already available on Netflix, and I think that we've got
On Hulu.
on Hulu, right? And then all of it's on the site. Don't you guys have a library on the site?
It's on iTunes. Stuff's available on iTunes.
But the answer is yes. We're always thinking about different ways to get content out there. Our show got spread around via YouTube. People took single sketches and then just texted them to each other. People would talk to me about a sketch that we made without any knowledge of it being a part of a show. So, you hit people wherever you can. You connect to people wherever you can. Short form, long form, internet, broadcast.
We used to debut episodes like a day early on the Adult Swim website, right? Why did that stop?
Many reasons that I really can't go into right now. But
Okay.
Ixnay on the Easons Ray.
But the answer is yes. Yes, always.
Yeah.
We got another question in the very back.
Yes.
That guy from the Apple Care.
Yes.
Oh, no, the girl. You're just handing
No,
the...
he's working. He's
Hi.
helping us.
Is it about your earbuds?
Totally. Actually, this is a question from my boyfriend. He's a writer, and he wants to know, when you first started writing collaboratively, what were your initial challenges in doing that?
Not having an HR person on site.
Yeah.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
It really, we really had to learn not to take things personally. Because especially if you knew the personalities we were dealing with. There was a lot of genuine anger when somebody would vote somebody else's thing out of the show. And you just have to learn to get really zen about it and let it go. And as soon as you're not precious
Is that what I have to do? Is that what I have to do, Tom?
Maybe.
I wasn't going to name any names. As soon as you stop being precious about your work, you tend to be much more productive and much more useful in a room. So that's what I would say. Tom, do you collaborative writing?
Yeah, I mean, everything you said is true, and you also need to take it in the room an extra step a lot of times, at least in my case. A lot of stuff I write doesn't land unless I say it out loud or sing it out loud, so there's a lot of embarrassing
That's true.
moments of singing ridiculous songs that are in my head.
I'll remind you all about the dinosaur train.
There was one sketch we did, Zeb wrote, called the Fumbles sketch, which to me is one of the ones I can point at in the 10 years that really came about in the room. You know, usually we're all together, but we kind of write separate until the end of the day, and we get together and throw ideas together. But this was one where Zeb came up with the idea, but then it just started. Everyone kind of, brainstormed about it in the room, and it became one. I don't know why. To me, it sticks out as one of the most fun times we had creating one particular sketch, because it started with Zeb, but then everyone added something into it, and it became this really fun moment, which doesn't always happen. Sometimes it's a lot of kind of isolation where you're writing your own sketch and you're hoping yours gets in over that person's and all that. But when it does happen, it's pretty great when you can collaborate well with someone. Not with these guys, but
No.
I was thinking, I know you guys don't want it to be over, just keep doing the show. But if it was to be over, would y'all do like a movie?
Well, I don't necessarily think that one precludes the other. Simpsons is still in production, and they released a feature. Our whole thought about a feature is less what is the 90-minute version of Robot Chicken versus us creating something to make as a feature. But we like Robot, and we've played with the size of the format over and over again, from quarter hours to full hours to half hours. So it's really just about having a story that's big enough to, feel like it's worth going to the movies. But we talk about it all the time. The closest thing we had was a quasi Wizard of Oz with the nerd going into all kinds of pop. But it's just, I don't know, you don't want that narcoleptic kid to be your way into every story. Oh, let's tell a story as soon as I sleep.
Hey guys, how did you guys get permission to do the Star Wars stuff, and what's been their reaction? And has it changed with Disney taking over or anything like that?
Well, Disney hasn't retroactively been angry about any of the stuff we produced in the past. And the way that we did it was by producing sketches exactly the way we produce all the other sketches that fall under fair use and parody. And so once Star Wars became aware of our comedy, they approached us about collaborating with them, and then we were just very aggressive in our pitching. And so instead of doing the short form interstitial things that they had proposed, we said, Matt Senreich actually said in a meeting, what about a half hour that's all Robot Chicken dedicated to Star Wars? And that's how the first special came up. And then everybody saw that it was fun and liked it, and that we love the brand, and that all the jokes we make are actually really supportive of it, and that there's an incredible symbiotic relationship between parodying things and sincere fan support of it. So nothing's really changed since Disney.
And George Lucas was a fan back in...
Yeah, we talked George into some really hilarious stuff. But it just went to show. He said to us, everyone's been having so much fun with Star Wars for his entire career, and he wanted to be able to have fun with Star Wars too. So he let us collaborate with him on making silly things.
All right, we have time for 2 more questions. We have a question in the front row.
Uh-oh, the pressure's on. Who's got the questions?
Hey,
what's up, Port Washington?
Yeah.
Hey, that was just that's what my shirt says, Seth.
I'm not on the Spirit Squad, man. I came here to talk to you.
I was wondering about how you guys time the segments you do, because it seems like it takes a lot of time to, film. Sometimes you have like 30-second segments, sometimes you have like 2-minute segments. I was just wondering how you all time that out, like when you do the actual production and the voiceovers.
Sketch by sketch, it's a guesstimate. Whenever a sketch gets written, we usually estimate how long you'd probably spend on that subject or what you'd be willing to contribute from the total show real estate towards that particular thing.
Sometimes it's really passive aggressive because we decide the length of the sketch in the writer's room as we're approving things. And so sometimes we'll
I'd say yes to that at 15 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, you wrote a 2-minute sketch? If it was 30 seconds, we could say yes to that.
But ultimately, all the decisions about the total length of any of the sketches or the show itself comes into the finite amount of time that we have for broadcast distribution, which is a quarter hour. So roughly 11 minutes and 30 seconds to under 12 minutes. But that's the total amount of time that we could put on the network in between their ad breaks that are, the show is paid for by advertisements, essentially. So you have to fit into that space. And so then you're editing the show, and if it's on either side of that length, you're like, we better trim this out. So we'll go through, Tom and I'll go through and just pull seconds out of a show, pull frames out of a show.
You can actually compress the entire show by like 1%.
We try not to do that.
Sometimes it makes things really awkward and uncomfortable. But
you have a performer that speaks low and slow, and it's not something that's going to make the sketch funnier. You'll like 10% their voice.
Yeah, once in a while we'll instead of cutting an entire sketch out, we'll find a joke that we like. The gargoyle sketch this season, it was like a 2-minute sketch that we turned into a 30-second channel flip.
Well, you follow what's funniest about the sketch. You say, this is all completely superfluous information. You just need that joke, and then everything else can get cut. Then you wind up getting down to your time. But we decide in the writer's room an estimate. We're like, I think this is 10 seconds, probably like 40 seconds.
All right, who has the last question?
Whoa, last question.
Better be good.
Is it about the Apple Watch? Oh, snap, you're completely rethinking your plan at the Apple Store. Yep. Maybe you're going to hear our last question instead.
We can get you, and we can get you.
We have two, actually.
Yeah. 2 last questions, no pressure.
It better be amazing. Whoa. All right, go first. Bull by the horns. There you go. Let's do it.
Didn't mean to start a cat fight.
All right.
Anyways, was there an actor and actress that you had on the show that was your absolute favorite, or can you not say that, or wished you had somebody on there?
It's not like favorites. We've just had people do things we didn't expect them to do.
I just really like Breckin Meyer when he was an actor.
You mean before I became a super hyper mega awesome filmmaker?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I had to grow.
My favorite this season, we got Martin Freeman to do the show. I don't know how that happened, actually, but he was so good and awesome at everything, as you would expect, and it was just like, I wish we had more for him to do.
We had occasionally we get our friends to do it, which is really how the show started. Getting people we were using our friends, but I was lucky enough to work with J.K. Simmons and asked J.K. to come on the show, and he's done the show a couple times now, and every time that guy is just a triple threat. He can do everything. Like by the way, he's the yellow M&M. I don't know if you guys know that. Like it's crazy. He's an Oscar winner. He's the yellow M&M.
Yeah, he just won for
on Oz.
Whiplash.
It's bananas. This guy can do everything. So anytime he comes,
we had him play
room,
the Master Chief.
Right. So
yeah,
not just the Master Chief, but the Master Chief trying to figure out how the zipper on his suit works.
We also
not wanting.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But not wanting Cortana to be able to have a heads-up view as he was peeing.
You have a favorite? Come in?
Well, we had Jared Harris on this year, who was really incredible, and I was super excited to have him because I worked with him a long time ago. But one of the biggest surprises that we had, and I guess it shouldn't have been a surprise. Do you guys know the actor Chris Pine? So Chris, real handsome, leading man, movie star kind of thing. I never would have thought that he was really funny, but he came in to do our show, and he was so hilarious and so awesome, so good and smart and like willing to do anything, but also really skilled and took very little direction to give you something amazing. And then after that, I started seeing him do all these comedies. He did Yeah, he's a tremendous
He's a
performer.
really funny guy.
Honestly, he could do anything.
Yeah.
Adam West and Burt Ward.
Yeah.
That was probably the giddiest day in the recording booth for. I know you and I were like hugging and high-fiving all day long.
Having nothing to do with the guest stars.
No, I mean that's a normal day.
Well, not just because it was both of them. It was both of them playing those characters. Like Adam was playing Batman and Burt Ward playing Robin. It just and them saying the things that they said, but saying it on our show. It's so silly. That's good.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
I was wondering what direction you want to see the show take in the future, like the far future.
We always talk about doing a solid half hour with no jokes that's just like a Lifetime drama about somebody dealing with a long-term debilitating disease. And we keep saying that that's a terrible idea, but it keeps coming up every year. We're like, what if we just put in one episode that end to end, none of the sketches are funny?
Yeah, give me the heads up on that one, right?
Yeah.
We'll sell it to
I'll give you some
Lifetime.
fair warning.
But other than that, probably we're just going to keep doing the same thing.
Yeah, we just try and find other people to contribute their voice and perspective to all this stuff. It's insane that the show is on and that you guys like it, so we're not going to try and really change it.
Yeah. We don't know if we could anyway. We don't have
this
a
was
wide,
all an accident.
We don't have a wide skill set here. So.
None of this happened on purpose with planning or just opportunity plus hard
guys,
work.
Congratulations on 8 great seasons. Thanks for giving us a great show.
Thank you, Keith.
New special on the 18th. On the 25th, the new season starts. They're both available on iTunes. And thanks to Apple for having us today.
Apple Store!
Thank you.
Genius Box!